Today we're talking about these brain waves. We're going to talk about delta waves first. Delta waves are your lowest waves. I wonder if you can see the moon up there. There you go. You can see a half moon. What, buddy? We're not playing today. Oh, later. Not right now. I got to tell these people about the brain so they understand their mind. Yeah, buddy. All right. Delta waves, they're your lowest brainwave function. They're your sleep state. Essentially, that's the spot where you're restoring the body and you're not thinking anything. So, empty head. So the dreams that come in are unconscious, they're subconscious. And then you move up into your theta brainwave, which is like a hypnotic state, like a trance state. And that's the one that we're going to focus on mostly today. That's where you get to dive into your subconscious and actually do the shadow work. Alpha brainwave state. And the alpha brainwave state is where you are most of the time of the day, where you're just awake, you're alert, you're going through your processes and through the day and all the things that are normal. Then you get to the beta brainwave, which is a higher processing of information. You're more alert. It's like you're ready to be reactive. You're focused. You're a little more focused. And then your gamma brainwave state are your highest consciousness, your highest frequency. In that frequency, you're doing problem solving and critical thinking, and you're really using your brain power, breaking into what your brain's capable of doing. Let's talk a little bit about the subconscious versus the conscious mind. The subconscious, the conscious mind is obvious. You're awake, you're alert, you're thinking, you're processing information. And your subconscious, that's where information can get planted, and you don't necessarily know it's there. It doesn't make sense. It's more of a reactionary, a reflexive consciousness, emotional based. A lot of times I had a feeling and I know I'm right, but I can't articulate why I'm right. I just know that it's right, and I have to prove that I'm right even though I don't have any facts or evidence to back it up. That's your subconscious. That's like deeply ingrained ideas that you can't break free from. And that's what we're going to focus on today with the theta brainwave state. That's where you can tap into the subconscious. During that theta brainwave state, we'll also talk about how you can enter it. Movies, so you're in that theta brainwave state when you're watching a movie. Essentially, you're in a trance state watching the show, and you're absorbing the information that they give you. Some of it you process out consciously, and some of it gets absorbed into your subconscious. And music, as we already discussed, has it all tied into it. All those, designed to get you into that lower vibration, so that you're more susceptible to accepting the information that they're giving you, and you'll enjoy that information too if it's a good beat that gives you a good feel. We'll also talk about mushrooms and marijuana are natural, if you will, plants that grow, where a drug is artificially man-made. So like LSD would be a psychedelic that's man-made. Ketamine would be that. And then your mushrooms and your marijuana can tap you into that theta brainwave state. And those will be more natural forms that have less to no harmful side effects. Meditation is another way to get into that. So when you're meditating, it's about tapping into the subconscious mind, tapping into that frequency so that you're getting out of your conscious mind. And it's the hardest thing to do with meditation because the mind wanders and the mind thinks thoughts outside of the ones that you want to focus on. And the idea is to not feel bad that you are thinking thoughts, because the mind, that's what it does. But to say, oh, I'm thinking that thought, I'm having this feeling, and I need to revert back to peace and calm so that I can tap into that theta brainwave state again. Then we'll talk about what we want to do when we're in that theta brainwave state. Set an intention. We talk about this all the time. Set a goal, an idea, an ideal. What is your intention of going on this into this theta brainwave state and doing the shadow work to help heal yourself? So if you have a challenge that you can't break, or an emotion that you can't, a thought that triggers an emotional response that you want to be able to break, you can tap into, you can go in with those intentions. And if you go into those intentions and you keep, your mind wanders off of those intentions and you bring them back to what your intention were, and just keep bringing it back and keep bringing it back, eventually you'll start to find the answers that you're looking for. After you've found your intentions and your goals of what you're trying to do, then the next step is to find a quiet place, somewhere that you're not going to be bothered. It doesn't necessarily have to be quiet, but the idea is that you're not going to get interrupted by someone or loud noises like a construction site or something like that. Then once you're in that quiet space, the next thing to do is relaxation techniques like meditation or yoga, breathing exercises, things that you can do to relax your body, because the subconscious mind needs a body that's completely relaxed. And once you get out of the meditation and the theta brainwave state, it's a good idea to document what you've done so that you can then, or your thoughts, so then you can make it not just a subconscious feeling but a conscious thought, so that you're breaking the cycle. And that's the goal. The goal is to dive into the subconscious so that you can make the subconscious conscious. And once the subconscious is conscious, you snap out of those feelings. We talked about accessing the subconscious mind. We talked about exploring the subconscious and your identity, and identifying what's in the subconscious to pull out. A lot of times when you're doing the shadow work and you pull something out of your subconscious, it's going to cause emotional trauma sometimes. And that emotional release is important to feel and to not shun away. It's a negative one that you want to shut out and say, no, I don't like that, so I'm not going to accept this subconscious. What it's telling me is real. Is a part of me that I want to reject. This thing that I do, I want to either validate that I should be doing it, or I want to pretend I don't do it. I want to say I did it and it was a good thing to do, when you know it was fucking a wrong thing to do and a bad thing to do. Like, those emotional responses that you gotta feel and understand so that you can integrate and transform yourself. You can integrate that aspect that you don't, the shadow, the spot that you don't want to acknowledge, and integrate it into yourself and acknowledge that it's part of who you are. And the idea behind integrating it to yourself is to transform yourself. It's not to say, oh, this is who I am and everyone around me must accept me for what I do and who I am. It's a part of who you are, but it's a part that you should, the idea is once you acknowledge it and once you integrate it with yourself, you'll no longer have that emotional response to doing it. And in a perfect world, you'd You'll know you're doing it when you're doing it, so when someone tells you you're doing it, you can just be like, oh yeah, my bad, and let it go and move on. Apologize. Acknowledge you've done it. Apologize because it's your shadow part that you don't want the world to see and know. And you can heal from it and stop causing all the fucking trauma that you cause other people and yourself because you don't want to fix all the fucking shitty things you do. All right, that's brainwaves. I have nothing more to talk about on the brainwave side of it, I don't think. Hunting season.